The starship Aurora glided silently through the black void of space. Its smooth metal surface reflected the distant stars, but inside, tension ran high. Commander Rouleau of the Virelian fleet leaned over the navigation console, his 4 eyes scanning the planet below. Zarathos, a planet feared by many species, lay beneath them. Its surface was chaotic, filled with jagged mountains, deep ravines, and forests where creatures with sharp claws and bright eyes roamed. This world had earned a fearsome reputation, no alien had ever survived long on its surface. Yet, legends told of humans, the so-called Deathworlders, who lived on such dangerous planets. Rouleau had studied them for years, fascinated by their strength and stubbornness. Reports say they thrive where no other life can, said Trull, his junior officer. His voice trembled slightly. Is it true? How can a species survive here? They adapt, Rouleau said quietly. That is what makes them different. We need to see for ourselves. Far below, on the surface of Zarathos, Mara moved carefully through the dense forest. She was tall, strong, and quick, with eyes that missed nothing. Her team of humans followed her silently. They carried supplies, weapons, and tools they had made themselves. The ground beneath them was unstable, and enormous creatures could appear at any moment. Mara scanned the area with a trained eye, spotting footprints of predators and hidden dangers. Her team had survived here for months. Each day was a test. The storms could last for days, and the predators could hunt at night or during the day. Mara had learned to read the land, to find safe paths, and to understand the patterns of dangerous creatures. She paused at the edge of a cliff, watching a river far below. The storm is coming, she said. We need to find shelter. The humans moved quickly, cutting branches to build a temporary shelter and clearing space for fire. They worked together seamlessly, each person knowing their role. It was a rhythm born of necessity, a rhythm that the Virelians could never understand. Above them, the Virelian ships began to descend through the thick clouds. They were cautious, keeping distance from the planet's surface. Rouleau's heart raced. This would be the first time the Virelians saw humans up close in their own environment. Remember, he told his crew, we observe. No interference unless absolutely necessary. As the alien ships landed, Mara noticed shadows moving in the sky. She signaled her team to remain calm. Humans had faced countless dangers, and a few strange ships were not frightening. Mara stepped forward slowly, her eyes fixed on the Virelians emerging from the ships. Their bodies were strange, with long limbs and smooth skin, and their 4 eyes blinked rapidly as they took in the human figures. The aliens stopped at a distance, unsure what to do. Mara raised her hand slightly, a universal gesture of peace. She spoke clearly and confidently. This is our land. We survive here every day. We mean no harm, but we protect ourselves. The Virelians looked at one another. They had never met a species so confident, so calm in a world designed to destroy life. One of the junior officers whispered, "They are not afraid." "They should be," Rouleau muttered under his breath. No other species could do this. Mara watched the aliens closely, noting their hesitation and fear. She smiled slightly to herself. Humans were not born to fear. They learned, adapted, and overcame. Even now, she knew that the Virelians had underestimated them. The forest around them rustled. A massive predator, taller than a human, emerged from the trees, its glowing eyes fixed on Mara's team. Without a moment's hesitation, the humans readied their weapons. Mara moved with precision, coordinating her team to surround the creature. Using traps they had set earlier and clever maneuvers, they forced it away from their camp. The Virelians watched in awe. Not one human was hurt. Not one human panicked. Remarkable, Troll whispered. They are fearless and precise. They use their minds as much as their strength. Rollo nodded. We are about to witness something extraordinary. This is why they survive where others fail. Their world tests them, and they rise to meet it. The sun began to set over Zaragoza, casting long shadows across the jagged landscape. Mara and her team gathered around their fire, checking weapons and sharing small portions of food. The Virelians remained at a distance, observing, taking notes, and beginning to understand the humans' unique resilience. For the humans, it was just another day of survival. For the Virelians, it was a lesson in humility and wonder. The story of the Deathworlders was not just legend. It was real, alive, and unyielding. Mara looked up at the stars, aware of the ships above. She did not fear them. She only wondered what challenges tomorrow would bring and how she and her team would meet them, as they always had. The next morning, the forest was alive with sounds. Birds with bright feathers called from high branches, while smaller creatures scurried in the underbrush. Mara moved silently with her team, checking traps and scouting the area for any threats. Her eyes were sharp, noticing small details others might miss. Every step they took was deliberate, every movement careful. Survival on Zaragoza demanded attention, patience, and instinct. Above them, the Virelian ships hovered cautiously. Commander Rollo watched through reinforced glass, noting how humans moved with purpose and calm. Troll, his junior officer, shifted nervously beside him. They are so composed, Troll said. I do not understand. No other species would behave this way on a planet like this. They are Deathworlders, Rollo replied. This is who they are. Fear is not a weakness they carry. It is a challenge they meet and overcome. As the humans approached a narrow canyon, Mara signaled her team to stop. Shadows moved above the cliffs, strange shapes against the bright sky. The Virelians were descending in small landing pods, keeping distance but making their presence clear. Mara's team froze, observing, but not in panic. Humans had faced storms, predators, and collapsing terrain before. A few aliens were not dangerous. Mara stepped forward, raising her hand slightly in a sign of peace. She spoke slowly and clearly, so that anyone could understand. We see you. This is our land. We survive here, but we do not wish to fight unless we must. The Virelians halted, unsure how to respond. Their 4 eyes blinked rapidly, recording the humans' every move. Commander Rollo studied Mara, impressed by her calm confidence and command over her team. They do not hesitate. They do not panic. They are unlike anything we have encountered, he said quietly. One of the aliens moved forward, trying to make contact. Its movements were stiff and cautious, showing both curiosity and fear. Mara stayed still, her eyes steady. We live by the rules of this world, she said. We hunt, we protect, and we survive. You are welcome to watch, but understand this is not a place for hesitation. The Virelians hesitated. They were used to species that faltered in the face of danger, species that crumbled when the environment became difficult. Humans, on the other hand, seemed perfectly at home in a world designed to destroy life. Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes drew everyone's attention. A massive predator, taller than 2 humans, lunged toward the group. Its claws scraped the rocks as it moved, and its glowing eyes fixed on Mara's team. Without a moment's pause, Mara barked commands. Left flank. Set the trap. Alex, light the fire barrier. Lena, keep the rear clear. Her team moved like a single unit. Traps were triggered, fire barriers flared, and the predator was slowed and redirected. The humans did not panic. They did not flee. They adapted. Within moments, the creature was forced back into the forest, retreating with a low growl. Not one human was hurt. The Virelians observed silently, astonished. They are using the environment as a weapon, Troll whispered. They are not strong in the same way we are, yet they control the danger effortlessly. Rollo nodded, his expression unreadable. This is why humans survive where others fail. Their strength is in their mind, their ability to adapt, and their will to endure. This world does not scare them. It shapes them. Mara lowered her voice but remained confident. We survive because we have no choice. We learn, we watch, and we act. This is what makes us strong. If you wish to understand, watch carefully. Fear will not teach you anything. The aliens recorded every movement, every decision, every strategic choice the humans made. Even minor actions were important: how Mara communicated without words, how her team responded instantly, how they anticipated danger. It was a display of skill, intelligence, and courage. Hours passed as the humans continued their routine, gathering food and checking their shelters. The Virelians remained at a safe distance, observing and learning. It was a quiet but powerful exchange. Humans did not speak much, yet they communicated everything through action and presence. The aliens began to see that the species had survived extreme worlds not through advanced technology alone, but through instinct, strategy, and unyielding will. As the sun set over Zarathos, Mara's team gathered around a small fire, cleaning their weapons and preparing for the night. The Virelians retreated to the edges of the clearing, still recording, still watching. For the humans, it was a normal evening. For the aliens, it was the first real lesson in humility and respect. Mara looked up at the sky, seeing the strange shapes of ships above. She did not feel fear. She only felt curiosity about these new visitors and confidence in her team's ability to face whatever came next. The Virelians, on the other hand, began to realize that the Deathworlders were not just survivors. They were something far more extraordinary, a species shaped by danger, forged by hardship, and guided by an unbreakable will. The morning sun barely touched the jagged peaks of Zarathos when dark clouds began rolling across the sky. The humans sensed it immediately. Mara stood on a rocky outcrop, her eyes scanning the horizon. The wind picked up, whipping through the trees and carrying a scent of rain and dust. "A storm is coming," she called. Her voice was calm, but every word carried urgency. "We need to secure our shelter and gather supplies." Her team moved quickly and efficiently. Alex checked the traps for food, Lena reinforced their temporary shelters with branches and stones, and Mara carried water containers to the highest safe points to prevent flooding. The storm was more powerful than usual. It shook the ground, and the clouds seemed to press down on the entire valley. Mara knew this was a test. Zarathos always tested its residents, and humans survived by paying attention to every detail. Above them, the Virelian fleet hovered nervously. Commander Rollo watched through the viewport as the storm spread across the mountains. The ships shook with turbulence, and Troll clung to the console as the wind and rain battered their landing area. "The storm is stronger than expected," Troll said, fear clear in his voice. "We cannot hold position much longer." Rollo did not answer immediately. He had studied the humans for years, but seeing them in action under extreme conditions was different. Below, Mara's team was calm. They moved with purpose, preparing their camp for the rising chaos. It was not just survival. It was mastery. "Notice," Rollo whispered. "They do not panic. They do not freeze. Every action is deliberate." The storm hit with full force. Rain lashed against trees, turning the ground into a slippery, dangerous mess. Strong winds toppled smaller trees and sent debris flying. For the humans, this was dangerous, but manageable. Mara led her team in a coordinated effort. They tied branches together, dug channels to redirect water, and moved heavy supplies to higher ground. Meanwhile, the Virelians struggled. Their ships had shields, but they were not designed for this type of chaotic weather. Troll shouted commands, but the crew was tense, unsure, and slow. Systems failed as lightning struck near their fleet. The humans below watched the flashes of light in the sky and continued their work, unfazed. Mara noticed a small group of Virelians struggling to stabilize one of their landing pods. She considered ignoring them, but survival was a principle, not just a human trait. She signaled her team. "Help them, but carefully. Keep an eye on the terrain." Alex and Lena moved swiftly down the slope, dodging falling debris, and guided the Virelians to safety. The aliens were shocked by the humans' confidence and speed. They had expected panic, confusion, and retreat, but instead they found direction, skill, and leadership. "Why are they so calm?" one Virelian murmured. "This storm should destroy them." "They are not afraid of challenge," Rollo said softly. "Fear does not drive them. The world shapes them, and they shape it in return." As the storm intensified, a massive tree fell near the human camp, narrowly missing Alex. Mara shouted commands, moving the team to safety. They redirected water flow to prevent flooding, secured supplies, and even trapped a small predator seeking shelter. Every challenge was met with skill and speed. The Virelians watched in awe. Their technology was advanced, but it struggled against nature's chaos. Humans had no such advantage, yet they adapted faster than any machine could. Troll, shaking from the stress, realized that these creatures were not just survivors. They were masters of survival, shaped by hardship and danger into beings of unmatched resilience. Hours passed. The storm finally began to ease, leaving a battered but intact landscape. Mara's team gathered at the center of their camp, checking each member for injuries. None were serious. Supplies were safe. Shelter held. Their calm efficiency contrasted sharply with the exhausted, frustrated Virelians, who were still recovering from the storm's assault. Rollo approached Troll. "Do you understand now?" he asked. Troll nodded slowly, still processing. "They survive because they do not fear. They do not complain. They face what comes and overcome it. Their minds, their skill, and their courage make them stronger than any challenge this planet can throw at them." Mara noticed the Virelians observing from a distance. She did not fear them. Instead, she saw an opportunity for understanding. "You see our ways," she said aloud. "You see how we live. Adaptation is not just survival. It is thinking, learning, and moving without hesitation. You will remember this." Rollo nodded, recording everything. The storm had given the Virelians a lesson no book or report could teach. The humans had turned extreme conditions into an advantage. Their leadership, teamwork, and calm in the face of chaos left a lasting impression. As night fell, the stars appeared again, shining through the clouds. Mara and her team sat around their fire, eating, talking quietly, and planning for tomorrow. The Virelians remained at the edge of the clearing, reflecting on what they had witnessed. For the humans, the storm was just another challenge. For the aliens, it was a revelation. Mara looked at the sky, seeing the distant shapes of the Virelian ships. She felt no fear, only curiosity. She knew tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she and her team were ready. The humans of Zarathus thrived where others would fail. Their strength was not in luck or weapons, but in their will, their mind, and their unbreakable spirit. The morning after the storm was eerily quiet. The forest of Zarathus looked different. Fallen trees blocked paths, streams were swollen, and the air was thick with the smell of rain and earth. Mara and her team moved cautiously through the terrain, inspecting their shelters and traps. The humans had survived the storm without major injuries, but Mara knew the planet still had many surprises in store. High above, the Virelian fleet observed. Commander Rollo's 4 eyes studied the humans with growing respect. Even after witnessing the storm, he understood that survival on Zarathus was about more than strength. It was intelligence, coordination, and willpower. Trull, still recovering from the previous day's fear, spoke quietly. They plan for every possibility. They do not panic. It is unlike anything we have seen. The peace did not last. From the dense underbrush, a massive predator emerged. Its size was enormous, larger than any creature the Virelians had encountered on other worlds. Its claws dug deep into the mud, and its glowing yellow eyes fixed on Mara's team. It growled, low and threatening, shaking the ground beneath it. Mara reacted instantly. "Positions," she shouted. Her team scattered into their pre-arranged formations. Alex readied his traps, Lena prepared the fire barrier, and Mara herself grabbed a heavy spear. Each human moved with precision, anticipating the creature's attack rather than reacting to it. The Virelians froze, unsure how to intervene. Their technology could easily destroy the predator, but they hesitated. Commander Rollo knew this was a chance to observe the humans' true skill. He whispered, "Watch carefully. This is how they turn danger into advantage." The predator lunged. Mara's team had anticipated the movement. Alex triggered a trap, a net that snagged the creature's leg. Lena ignited a small controlled fire, forcing the predator back. Mara ran forward, her spear aimed with accuracy, striking the creature in a sensitive spot. It roared, enraged, but could not break free from the humans' coordinated attack. The Virelians watched in astonishment. Humans fought not with brute force alone but with strategy. They used their environment, their tools, and their understanding of the predator's behavior. It was not just survival. It was mastery. One of the Virelians, observing closely, whispered, "They do not just survive. They dominate the danger without hesitation." Trull nodded silently, recording every detail. The humans were a species that turned challenges into opportunities. Mara signaled her team to push the predator toward a deep ravine. Using ropes and levers they had prepared, they guided the massive creature safely into a trap they had set weeks before. The predator fell into the pit, struggling but unable to escape. Mara and her team stepped back, breathing hard but calm. Not a single human had been injured. The Virelians finally moved closer, carefully landing pods near the humans. Commander Rollo stepped out, his expression serious. "Your methods, your skill, it is remarkable," he said. "We have never seen such control over a wild creature, nor such calm in the face of danger." Mara lowered her spear but remained alert. "Zarathus tests us every day," she explained. "We learn, we adapt, and we survive. Danger is not something to fear. It is something to understand and overcome. The Virelians began to record her words and actions. They took note of the teamwork, the strategy, and the human ability to read the environment. Mara continued, showing them how each trap, fire barrier, and movement was planned in advance. The humans explained their reasoning without hesitation, teaching by example rather than lecture. The predator eventually quieted, defeated but alive. Mara decided not to harm it further, understanding that Zarathus was full of lessons even for dangerous creatures. Her team released the nets and stepped away, signaling that they had restored balance. The Virelians looked on, impressed by the humans' ethics and efficiency. As the sun rose higher, the humans continued their work. They checked traps, gathered food, and reinforced their shelters. The Virelians stayed at a distance, still recording, still learning. Commander Rollo realized that humans were not only survivors but teachers. Their strength came from thought, skill, and courage, not just physical power. Mara watched the Virelians quietly. She did not see fear in them anymore, only curiosity. They were trying to understand a species that thrived in the impossible. She knew that the more the aliens observed, the more they would respect humans not because of weapons or technology, but because of will, intelligence, and determination. When the day ended, Mara's team gathered around their fire, calm and alert as always. They had faced one of Zarathus' most dangerous predators and emerged unscathed. The Virelians returned to their ships, recording everything they had witnessed. For the humans, it was another day of survival. For the aliens, it was a revelation. Commander Rollo looked at the horizon, where the humans were quietly preparing for the night. "They are extraordinary," he said softly. "They are shaped by danger, and they shape it in return. I thought we understood life, but they have taught us a new meaning of strength." Mara, unaware of the full impact of their observation, watched the sunset. She knew Zarathus would always challenge them, but she also knew that humans thrived on challenge. Their courage, intelligence, and unity made them unstoppable, even to species far more technologically advanced than themselves. The forest of Zarathus was quieter than usual. The storm had passed, and the ground still glistened with water. Mara and her team moved carefully, checking traps, repairing shelters, and gathering food. Their pace was steady and calm, every action deliberate. Survival was not just instinct, it was planning, coordination, and awareness. The Virelians observed from a distance. Commander Rollo's eyes followed every human movement. Troll, his junior officer, still struggled to understand how a species could act so efficiently under such harsh conditions. "They are extraordinary," Troll said quietly. "Nothing we have experienced compares to this." Rollo nodded. "Observe carefully. Survival on Zarathus is a test. These humans pass it not with technology alone but with their mind and their will. We can learn from them." Mara noticed the Virelians watching. She did not fear them. Their curiosity was clear, but so was their hesitation. Humans had faced far greater dangers. Mara raised her hand in a casual greeting. "We survive because we must," she said. "The world does not give us mercy. We take only what we need and prepare for what comes next. Watch, and you may understand." The Virelians edged closer, taking careful steps through the muddy terrain. Troll attempted to follow Mara's team, but the forest was challenging. He slipped in the mud and nearly fell into a small stream. Mara, noticing his struggle, called out instructions. "Use the branches to balance. Step where the ground is firm. Watch the roots." Her words were simple but effective. The Virelians followed her instructions, moving more steadily. Slowly, they began to understand the importance of observation and careful planning. Mara continued, showing them how to find safe paths, how to read animal tracks, and how to predict dangerous areas. Hours passed. The humans collected food, prepared water, and repaired their shelters. Every action had a reason, every movement counted. The Virelians recorded it all, fascinated by the combination of instinct, skill, and foresight. Commander Rollo could see a change in his crew. Fear and hesitation were replaced with admiration and curiosity. Mara led the Virelians to a small cliffside where the view stretched across the valley. She pointed to a nearby river and the paths leading to safer ground. Every choice matters, she explained. The world tests us every day. If we do not learn, we fail. If we pay attention, we survive and thrive. Troll listened carefully, realizing the human's strength was not physical alone. It was their ability to learn, adapt, and teach. The planet itself was a teacher, and humans were its best students. Their mind shapes their survival as much as their body, Troll whispered to Rollo. The humans also demonstrated teamwork in subtle ways. Mara communicated silently with her team using small gestures and signals. Each member understood perfectly without words. The Virelians noticed how humans anticipated each other's needs, covered one another, and adjusted instantly to changing conditions. It was efficiency beyond calculation, instinct enhanced by experience. As the sun climbed higher, Mara stopped near a shallow pool of water. She showed the Virelians how to test for safe drinking water, how to identify edible plants, and how to avoid dangerous animals. Each lesson was simple, yet every instruction carried the weight of life and death. The Virelians absorbed every detail, taking careful notes and attempting the tasks themselves under Mara's guidance. By evening, the humans had collected enough food, repaired their shelters, and prepared for the night. The Virelians gathered at a safe distance, still learning. Commander Rollo observed quietly, impressed by the humans' discipline and focus. They do not just survive, he said. They understand the world. They anticipate danger and respond before it arrives. That is why they thrive where others fail. Mara looked at the Virelians and smiled slightly. She did not speak in complex words or demands. She only showed, demonstrated, and guided. The aliens, despite their advanced technology, began to understand that true strength was not always in machines or weapons. It was in thought, courage, and adaptability. Night fell over Zarathos. The stars shone brightly above, reflecting in small pools of rainwater. Mara and her team sat quietly, tending to their fire and sharing stories of survival and past challenges. The Virelians retreated to their landing pods, contemplating what they had seen. Troll whispered, "They are more than survivors. They are teachers. They show us a new way to see life, danger, and strength." Rollo looked toward the humans, calm and prepared even after a long day. "And they do not even realize the full impact of their actions," he said. "We have much to learn from them. Zarathos shaped them, but they have also shaped Zarathos in return, through skill, courage, and unyielding will." Mara gazed at the night sky, unaware of the change she had inspired in the Virelians. She only thought of the next day, the next challenge, and how she and her team would face it together. Humans of Zarathos did not wait for the world to spare them. They adapted, they acted, and they survived. And in doing so, they left even the most advanced species in awe. The morning air on Zarathos was tense. Clouds hung low over the jagged cliffs, and the ground trembled slightly beneath Mara's feet. She had been monitoring the nearby volcano for days, noting small tremors that had grown more frequent. Her instincts told her that something major was coming. Her team gathered quickly around her. "We have to move fast," Mara said. "The volcano could erupt at any moment. We need to secure our supplies and find safe ground." Alex nodded, grabbing heavy containers of food, while Lena checked their shelters and reinforced weak points with rocks and branches. Every movement was precise, efficient, and purposeful. The humans had faced countless dangers on Zarathos, but an erupting volcano was different. It demanded both intelligence and courage. Above them, the Virelian fleet hovered nervously. Commander Rollo and Troll observed the humans preparing calmly, noting how naturally they adapted to the imminent threat. "They do not panic," Troll whispered. "We cannot manage half this efficiently even with our technology." Rollo nodded. "This is why humans are extraordinary. Fear does not control them. They act, plan, and survive." The first eruption shook the land violently. Smoke and ash spewed into the sky, and the ground cracked in long, dangerous lines. Mara immediately assessed the safest routes. "Move east, to the ridge," she commanded. "Stay together. Watch the falling debris and unstable ground." Her team followed without hesitation. Each member knew their role, moving as one coordinated unit. They guided each other over rocks and through shallow lava streams, avoiding dangerous cracks and unstable soil. Mara herself assisted a younger team member who stumbled near a sudden fissure, showing both leadership and care. The Virelians tried to follow in their landing pods, but turbulence from the volcanic activity made flight unstable. Some pods were rocked violently by falling ash and shock waves, forcing the aliens to retreat to safer areas. Many began to panic, unsure how to navigate the dangerous terrain. Mara noticed their struggle. She raised her hand and called out simple instructions. "Use stable rocks to step. Keep your weight low. Watch each movement." Troll and several other Virelians carefully followed, guided by the humans' calm direction. Slowly, they managed to stabilize themselves, moving step by step under Mara's supervision. The aliens began to see that intelligence, observation, and calm decision-making could overcome challenges that machines and technology alone could not. A massive fireball erupted from the volcano, sending a wave of heat across the ridge. Mara immediately shouted commands. "Move left. Avoid the cracks. Keep low and fast." Her team responded instantly, guiding the Virelians and each other to safer ground. Rocks tumbled down the mountainside, but the humans anticipated every movement, shielding each other when necessary. Hours passed in this tense struggle. Ash filled the air, and lava flowed unpredictably across the slopes. Despite the chaos, Mara's team remained focused. They rescued injured Virelians, helped carry supplies, and constantly adapted to the changing terrain. For them, danger was not a signal to flee. It was an opportunity to act, to learn, and to survive. Finally, after a long and exhausting climb, the humans and Virelians reached a safe plateau. The air was clearer, and the ground stable. The humans immediately checked for injuries, reassured one another, and began setting up temporary shelters. The Virelians, exhausted and shocked by the ordeal, looked at the humans with newfound respect. Commander Rollo spoke quietly to Troll. "Observe what they have done. They faced an erupting volcano, guided a weaker species, and emerged unscathed. Not one of them panicked. They acted with thought, courage, and unity. This is why humans survive where others fail." Mara gathered her team. "Everyone accounted for?" she asked. Nods came from each member. She glanced at the Virelians. You can survive this world if you watch, learn, and act without fear. Danger will always come, but it is not unbeatable. The Virelians began to record everything. Their previous assumptions about life, strength, and survival had been shattered. They realized that humans were not just tough or lucky, they were intelligent, adaptable, and courageous beyond measure. As night fell, the humans gathered around a small fire. They were tired, but calm and alert, discussing the day's events and preparing for the next challenge. The Virelians remained nearby, silently absorbing the lessons they had learned. Rollo turned to Troll. We have much to learn from these humans. Technology cannot replace instinct, courage, and the will to survive. We have underestimated them, and today proved it. Mara looked up at the stars, ignoring the distant ash cloud from the volcano. She thought only of tomorrow, of the challenges Zarathus would bring, and of how her team would face them. Humans of Zarathus had survived storms, predators, and earthquakes. Now, they had faced fire and lava, and they remained unbroken. The Virelians, though far more advanced, realized that their observations of humans had changed their understanding of life itself. These Deathworlders were not just survivors, they were a force shaped by adversity, and nothing, not even a planet designed to destroy life, could stop them. The first light of dawn broke over the jagged peaks of Zarathus. The volcano had quieted, and the air was thick with ash and smoke, but the humans moved as if nothing extraordinary had happened. Mara and her team checked their shelters, inspected the traps, and prepared food. Their calm efficiency stood in stark contrast to the exhausted and nervous Virelians still recovering from the disaster. Commander Rollo approached the humans carefully, his 4 eyes observing every movement. Troll followed, still amazed by what he had witnessed over the past days. You have faced storms, predators, and a volcano, Rollo said quietly. And yet you remain unshaken. Your strength is extraordinary. Mara looked up at him. Her expression was calm, confident, and unafraid. We survive, she said simply. This world tests us every day. We learn, we adapt, and we act. Fear does not guide us. Understanding does. The Virelians were silent for a moment, letting her words sink in. They had studied countless species in the galaxy, but none had faced the challenges of Zarathus with such poise and skill. Even with all their technology, they realized humans had something far greater: an unyielding will, intelligence, and courage that no machine could replace. Rollo stepped closer. We have much to learn from you, he said. Your methods, your courage, and your unity are beyond anything we have seen. We underestimated your species. Today, we witness your true strength. Mara nodded, understanding the respect behind his words. Then observe, she said. Watch, listen, and learn. Survival is more than weapons or technology. It is strategy, awareness, and heart. The Virelians followed her instructions carefully. Mara led them through the nearby forest, showing safe paths, how to find food and water, and how to anticipate dangerous creatures. The humans demonstrated traps and shelters, teaching without arrogance, leading by example. Even the smallest gestures were lessons in precision, observation, and teamwork. Troll, struggling to keep up, finally spoke. I understand now. It is not the tools or technology alone. It is the mind, the courage, and the unbroken will to survive. That is what makes humans extraordinary. Rollo smiled faintly. And it is why they are feared and respected across worlds they inhabit. Deathworlders are not only survivors. They are teachers, leaders, and warriors without equal. The humans continued their work, unaware of the full impact they had made on the aliens. They repaired shelters, gathered food, and shared quiet moments around small fires. Their calm in the face of danger, their careful observation, and their teamwork impressed the Virelians more than any display of weaponry could. Finally, Mara led her team to a high ridge, where the view stretched across the valley and beyond. The Virelians landed nearby, still recording, still learning. Mara spoke, her voice steady and clear. "We live where others fail. We endure where others fall. Zarathus is harsh, but we are stronger. Strength is not given. It is earned, every day, through courage, thought, and perseverance." The Virelians absorbed her words. Their understanding of life, strength, and survival had shifted completely. Troll looked at Rollo, eyes wide with awe. "We have been changed by what we saw. Technology could not have taught us this. Only the humans could." Rollo nodded. "Yes. We will carry this knowledge with us. The universe is vast, but there are lessons only Deathworlders can teach." As the sun rose higher, Mara and her team packed their supplies and prepared to continue their daily routine. The Virelians stepped back, giving them space and respect. For the humans, life continued as normal. For the aliens, life would never be the same. They had seen firsthand that humans of Zarathus were unbreakable, unyielding, and unmatched in courage and skill. Before departing, Commander Rollo spoke one last time. "We will remember this. Your resilience, your wisdom, and your courage are a guide for all who face danger. We owe you more than observation. We owe you respect." Mara nodded simply. "Respect is earned through actions, not words," she said. "Remember what you saw. Survival is about understanding, learning, and acting. Nothing can replace that." The Virelians returned to their ships, leaving Zarathus behind. As they ascended into the sky, they carried with them a lesson they would never forget. The humans remained on the planet, calm and ready for the next challenge. Life on Zarathus was harsh, but they thrived because of their courage, their intelligence, and their unbreakable will. Mara looked at the horizon, the smoke from the volcano rising in the distance. She thought of the days to come, the challenges Zarathus would throw at them, and how she and her team would face them. They had survived storms, predators, and fire. They had faced aliens and taught them the meaning of resilience. The humans of Zarathus had proved, once again, that no world could break them. And above all, the universe had witnessed the truth: humanity was a force that adapted, endured, and inspired. The Deathworlders had survived, and in doing so, had shown the galaxy the power of unyielding will.